Hello and welcome to the second part of the terrain generation tutorial in Godot. A few things before we get started. This video is edited slightly differently than the other ones because I wanted to get it out as soon as possible because a lot of people wanted to see the second part. So it may be slightly different than the other one, and if you have any questions, just ask them down in the comments. The first thing that we're going to do is to create a dictionary called tiles, where the key will be the name of the tile and the values will be the tile ID for that tile. This is just so that we don't have to remember all of the tile IDs. Next, we're going to make another dictionary called biome data. This dictionary will just hold each of the biomes as a key, and for the value, it will have another dictionary which contains the different tiles that can be placed in that biome, along with their respective chances of being placed, with a 1 representing a 100% chance of that tile being placed. The total chances should add up to 1, or there will be gaps in the tile map. In order to actually use this biome data, we need to make a function, randomTile. This function will take the dataset that we want to use and the biome that we want to check as parameters. This function just generates a weighted average to help decide what tile to place. So we start off by setting the current biome to the provided biome in the dataset. Next, we generate a random number from 0 to 1. We then add this number to our running total. We then loop through all of the possible tiles for that biome and check whether the random number is less than the current running total. If it is, then we return the tile name. If not, we go to the next tile and add its probability to the running total, and check until the random number is less than the running total. For example, if we had a jungle biome, since there is only one tile with a 100% chance of being placed, no matter what number we roll, we will place a jungle tile. However, if we are looking at the desert, if a random number is anything less than 0.95, we will return sand. However, if the random number is greater than that, we will return stone. Now, in the last tutorial, we made a dictionary called biome, and now we are going to use it. First, create a variable inside of the setTile function called post, and set it to vector2 x, y. In each biome, under where you're setting the tilemap tile, write the set biome at post to the name of the biome, and get rid of the setCellV line. Instead of that, we're going to write tilemap.setCellV and pass in the position along with the tiles dictionary, with the key random tile, which we pass in our biome data and the name of the current biome. It may seem a little complicated, but all we're doing is using the randomTile function to give us a random tile name, and then we use the tiles dictionary to find the tile ID associated with that name. Finally, we are setting the tile at post to that ID. Copy and paste this one line in place of all the tilemap.setCellVs we had earlier, and change the biome name accordingly. If we run the game now, you should see some slight variation in some of the biomes. Moving on, now we are going to instance objects into our worlds to make them more lively. So what I have here are two scenes, a tree and a cactus, which are just static body 2Ds. What we're going to do is make a dictionary called object tiles, and for the keys we'll use the name of the object we want to place, and for the values we'll preload the scenes. Now, we're going to make another dictionary. This one will be called object data. To make this, we can just copy biome data and change the tile names to our object names, and as for the chances, they don't need to add up to 1, since they won't be placed in every tile. So I recommend using values less than 0.03. We're also going to make yet another dictionary called objects that we will just leave empty for now. In order to place these objects, we need another, you guessed it, function. This one will be called setObjects, and it works very similarly to setTile, except this time we don't need to loop through x and y, since we can just go through the biome dictionary instead. Once again, we set current biome to biome post, and then we create another variable called randomObject, which we set to a call of the randomTile function, where we pass in object data and the current biome. Now we're going to set objects with the key post to randomObject. And if the random object does not equal null, so if an object was returned, we are going to call yet another function called tileToScene with the parameters random, object, and pose. Now, in order to use this function, we need to actually write it. So, declare a new function. This is the last one, I promise. It's going to be called tileToScene, and it'll take in random object and pose as parameters. We're going to create a variable called instance, which we will set to special tiles with the key random object converted to a string, which we will then instance. This will just create an instance of the random scene. Now we are going to set the instance's position using map to world function, which basically converts tile posts to real world coordinates. And to that we will add a vector 2, where x and y are half the size of the tiles. So in my case, my tiles are 8 by 8, so I'm using 4 and 4. This will just center the tiles on a grid. Finally, we will add this instance as a child of the y sort, and we should be done. All we need to do now is call the setObjects function at the end of the setTile function, and if we run the game, you can see that we have our trees and cactuses instanced onto our world. Now, it's up to you to make these objects do whatever you want them to.